Within a week, a little over a week ago, on August 23rd, 2010, the United States District Court for the Central District of California in Santa Ana dismissed all charges that were wrongfully brought against me. The dismissal occurred, thank you, the dismissal occurred 2 years after the charges were originally brought. In fact, the charges were brought on July 3rd, 2008. Shortly after that, we started getting the discovery, and by July 24, 2009, a little after a year, we filed our motion to dismiss, which remained pending before the district court for a year. And then finally, about a month ago, on August 4, 2010, the Department of Justice, the DOJ, filed their application also to dismiss the case. I'm just going to lay out a little bit of background, not because I want any recognition, but I think to say that I've been following, I think in my lifetime, a proper path. As almost all of you here know, that I'm a former FBI agent and a former assistant Lynn County attorney. And the combined years in service for those two is just short of 7 years. During that time, I feel that I performed my duties exactly as I was asked to perform, and I had absolutely no negative feedback during that entire time about my service to either agency. I have a good relationship with both those agencies today, despite what just recently happened to me. Additionally, I want to mention that I've practiced and been a licensed attorney in the state of Iowa for 41 years, and during that entire period of time, I've never had any complaints of any kind made against me. I have an unblemished record with the Bar Association, and I think it can be shown that I've practiced in state and federal district courts throughout the upper Midwest, and I believe I've had a very good relationship with the entire legal community as well as the courts in those jurisdictions. I've also authored 2 books and numerous legal articles for legal seminars which I presented over the course of the last 20 years. Additionally, I am currently the president, CEO of Enlightened Technologies, which is a company that my son and several others founded back in 1994 as LawCheck. Essentially, this is my statement. It's great news to finally be completely exonerated of the charges that were wrongfully brought against me in the first place. I wish to express my gratitude to the court, the Honorable David Carter, the United States District Judge, for patiently hearing the arguments and diligently reviewing the evidence in this case before granting the dismissal of the indictment against me. Plus, it is difficult to reduce to words the deep sense of appreciation and respect that I have for the legal work performed on my behalf by my California attorney, John D. Early of Irvine, California. His full assessment of the evidence of this case, coupled with his research, writing, advice, and arguments, were absolutely outstanding and without peer. Additionally, I wish to express my sincerest thanks to the remarkable legal team here locally of Les Stokey, Jerry Kinnaman, John Kinnaman, Mark Meyer, Larry Thorson, and Vince Pundt for the extraordinary amount of dedication, of time, research, advice, and guidance that they have provided in this case. A special debt of gratitude I would like to pay to the United States Attorney General, current United States Attorney General Eric Holder and his staff, particularly Mr. Dennis McInnery, Chief of the Fraud Section, Steve Linick, Deputy Chief of the Fraud Section, and David Bybee, the trial attorney of the Department of Justice, for taking the time to re-examine the evidence in this case and for conducting a separate inquiry into the facts before filing the government's application to dismiss. Most importantly, I wish to express from the bottom of my heart a very special thanks to my wife Joyce and my family for the grace and the dignity that they have demonstrated throughout and their unceasing support and understanding throughout this unbelievable and devastating experience. I wish to extend a special debt of gratitude to my close friends, John Leland, an agent with Northwestern Mutual Life, Roger Archica, former United States Marshal and Interpol Chief Inspector of Paris, for their dedicated support and continued advice in this matter. In addition, I would like to thank the many individuals who came forward to provide testimonials and letters on my behalf, including the Honorable Robert Ford, District Judge, retired, Dick Heff, Special Agent, retired from the FBI, Bernie Brown, Special Agent of the FBI, retired, John Schwiebert, Special Agent of the FBI, retired, Mike Marlin, Special Agent with the Iowa DCI, Department of Criminal Investigation, retired. Mike Sheehy, former Assistant Iowa Attorney General. Father George, retired. Reverend Bill Harnish, community leader. Dennis Bloom, former United States Marshal and former Lynn County Sheriff. Dr. Wayne Alberts, neighbor and MD. Dan Meyer, Rockwell technician and neighbor. Jerry Chafee, former Vice President of Diamond V Mills. Bill Kubich, realtor. Carol Kubich, accounting, St. Luke's. Mary Harker, former neighbor and sister of former Lynn County Attorney Bill Fatchis. James Kemp, president of Prestige Homes. Phil Klinger, attorney and former law partner. Charles Weepy, treasurer of Enlightened Technologies. Amy Fischel, realtor. And Randy Boyce, president of Century Mark Utility Systems. I'm also indebted to the many individuals, including friends, clients, and acquaintances, who have provided letters and words of support throughout this extraordinary and troubling ordeal. The allegations that were made against me were without basis and should never have been brought in the first place. In fact, as the record demonstrated, the allegations were made in direct conflict with the evidence. It is most unfortunate that there is not a method of proper oversight in place when the functioning of a federal grand jury is considered. Victims should not be included in the indictments, and something is drastically wrong when that is permitted to occur. Unfortunately, as the process currently exists, allegations that are contrary to the facts of a case can be asserted against the party, and there's nothing that that party can do other than to seek a dismissal or to go to trial on unfounded charges. That is a part of the legal system that will need to be changed. Finally, it should be understood that I expect to devote whatever time and resources that are necessary in order to bring about certain changes and assurances within the system that will prevent this type of inappropriate and outrageous conduct that happened to me from happening to anyone else. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them from this group.
Can you elaborate on that victim?
Yeah, that's a good point, Vince. The reason victim is mentioned from 2000 forward, our company sought venture capital. We were recommended to seek venture capital by our own banks. And as we did, we paid a rather extraordinary amount of money throughout time to various venture capital sources. In fact, just under $500,000 is what we paid out. In August of 2005, I filed a formal complaint with the FBI regarding one of those venture funding sources. Since that time, and ironically, about a month after the indictment came down against me, the FBI recognized that I had been a victim, as had our company. In fact, we have no less than a dozen letters from the FBI office recognizing us as victims, and in fact, the FBI has recovered part of the money for us. What unfortunately happened is a task force of the FBI from another field office undertook to conduct their own covert operations, and they even had a policy of including victims within the indictment. We even have written articles by the former member of the Department of Justice who stated that he purposely included the victims because once they confronted the financial wherewithal and strength of the federal government, that they would probably work something out. Now that's a terrible thing to even think about, to let alone say. And I was determined to fight this all the way because we had absolutely no culpability, and in fact we were victims. Thanks for bringing up that question.
And this was dismissed from which level of the branch of justice?
No, this is from the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. is where the application to dismiss came from. And as a side note, I don't want to get into it because in case I'm called to testify in this case, I do want to point out that the agent who was the head of the task force was indicted for similar conduct, has been asked to leave the FBI, left the FBI, was charged, and has since pled guilty. So it was unfortunate that this happened, but I do plan on dedicating a good share of my life, and I've already opened the doors to the United States Senate Judiciary Committee and the United States House Judiciary Committee to see if they can conduct an investigation and be sure that something like this doesn't happen to someone else. Unless there are any other questions, that's it. Thank you very much.